Hello and welcome. It is 6 o'clock and it is Tuesday. Um, hello, Elsa. Hello, Simon. Thank you very much for joining us. Um, yes, Tuesday night. Tuesday night. I'm Andy from Twisted Narrative, and I am once again joined by, well, introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kristian. I'm from the 6 o'clock club now, and sometimes from the bushes outside your house. No, wait, no, the first one. Definitely the first
What
one.
I was going to say. Well, I need to get my bush trimmed then. You started it. I mean, let's face it. If we're going to start it, we're going to start it.
Well, yeah.
Welcome. Quite a lot to talk about tonight, but just general conversation more than anything else, really. So if you do have any questions in chat that you want to ask of either me or Kristian about the games that we run, about potential future type stuff that we might be doing, please shout up. Um, so first and foremost, we didn't run a game last night. We've got a game tonight. I'm not going to cover it again because I spoke about it, but we've got Vampire the Masquerade tonight, and we've
So
got
excited.
got
So
Kristian
excited.
in it, and Rachel, and Elsa, and Andrew, and maybe Rich. He has contacted me today saying he is inundated with work still, but if he can kind of break the back of it, he might join us. But not to hold our breaths. And as Kindred, we won't be holding any breaths, so we will wait and see. There is plenty to be going on with the game, though. I'm just going to turn that off. Um, so it is not distracting me. So yeah, tonight I've had a delivery today, which I'll start showing you that first. I always like to show my shiny things that sort of come through. And who knows if any of them take your attention, we can perhaps do a 6 o'clock club specifically about them. And then I kind of, if nobody else has got anything specifically to ask, we'll chat about this improv that we're looking at doing on Sunday nights at some point. And we'll chat about Twisted Narratives rule set that we're going to be using for them as well, which is incredibly light, and the inspiration for the improv sort of sessions as well. So first and foremost, shiny things. This is I
Ooh,
think the best thing
what
that
did
has
you
come
get?
through to me
What
today.
did you get?
I got this hefty tome here, Dice Men.
The
Um,
origin story of Games
Games
Workshop.
Workshop. It's
Never
a
heard of it.
hefty tome, and I mean this is pretty much like the interview that was about me talking about my early days. This is the early days of Games Workshop. It does catch up towards the end with the sort of takeover of Citadel and moving into sort of wargaming and everything else. But fundamentally, it is that early legacy of Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone, and um, the history of Games Workshop, starting from producing little fanzines to White Dwarf to importing from TSR Dungeons and Dragons, bringing it um, into England, the UK, um, and all of those early days of their journeys across to the States and meeting with TSR and Gary Gygax and sort of all of that setup. Fascinating. And for those of you
Sounds
who,
really good.
oh, I mean, it takes me back to my youth. I'm a little bit younger, so I missed the start of it. It was all sort of kicking off 76, 77, and I was a little too young to be fully involved. But it's, I mean, I spoke about Dungeons and Starships when I was chatting about my how I got into gaming on Friday. Um, and Dungeons and Starships moved from this little backstreet store, was brought out or they sold themselves to Games Workshop back in the day. This is before it was a wargaming store, and they moved to a city centre location, fairly close to New Street Station. There's even a photograph of it in here.
Oh wow.
Here's me desperately trying to sort of look through this now. I'm not going to be able to find it, but it's fascinating to me, sort of looking back at all of this. Oh, here we go. Here's some of the older stores here. There we go. Below, the opening of the Birmingham shopping centre sort of store. Oh
wow, yeah.
Oh yeah. There we go.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean it's beautiful. It's kind of all about my youth, and I can't wait to actually study it properly. So I'm very pleased that came through eventually. Then a couple of other things, again, this time to do with Pathfinder. We've got this first for Pathfinder 2nd edition, Treasure Vault. Again, quite a big book. And
so what sorts of things are in there?
Can you guess? Can you guess what's in a treasure vault?
A dragon, normally, sitting on top of it.
Well, it does actually see. It says Pathfinder Treasure Vault reveals the glittering hoard of a terrifying dragon, as presented by the creature's plucky kobold assistant. This 224-page hardcover rulebook presents a catalogue of new gear from nearly every category of equipment and magic item available in Pathfinder role-playing game. I mean, it's great. Even though I don't really run that many Pathfinder games at the moment anyway, a lot of it is easily convertible to other fantasy systems.
Yeah, you can go to 5th ed fairly easy, I imagine, and 3.5 and whatever else.
So there's a whole sort of host of very juicy and interesting magic items that you might see cropping up in your campaigns sooner rather than later. It's a great set of inspiration. Just checking the old chat here. Hiya, Matt. Thanks for jumping in. Congratulations on your Kickstarter, by the way, Matt. We just, I think, 90%, almost funded. Quite a long time to go still. So,
and international shipping now available.
Yes, indeed. International shipping now available. Right, so Elsa says no breath to hold, but worried about anyone who works cuts into vampire time. Yeah. Simon says was playing Empire in Flames last night, which is fitting with your new book. Yeah, absolutely.
What's Empire in Flames?
Well, it is. It's a. I think there are several different versions of Empire in Flames, but it's definitely set in the Warhammer world.
Okay.
I think there was a computer game version, but I think there is a sort of miniatures game version of it as well, and it might even be a tabletop game as well. What? Sorry,
Matt has just said he's actually just hit 100%.
Hey, well done, Matt.
Congratulations, Matt. Really well done. I'm very happy, very selfishly, because that means I get to have my
yeah. Well, funded means that. But we'll put a link down as a celebration into the chat, into the comments box below. Because funded doesn't mean it's over. Obviously, there are those juicy stretch goals to start reaching now. But yeah, no, very good news. I was looking at your update today, and you've got quite a lot of interest for printed product for outside the UK as well. So that bodes very well for the future. So massive thumbs up to you there. Very excited. Has Simon clarified what version of Empire in Flames?
Yes.
Large campaign for Warhammer. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, super good. The Empire, the old world, kind of one of my favourite fantasy settings.
I've only played Warhammer Fantasy once.
Yeah.
My entire time playing Warhammer, and I did spend a long time playing Warhammer. Well, I played 40k
Yeah.
for many years, but I could never get into Warhammer. I think it was the number of units you had, and my technique was buy a load of Space Marines, buy a can of Ultramarine Blue, and then across a lot of them. I'm not a painter or a model put together. My hands shake too much.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's interesting. And again, looking back to this, you know, Citadel Miniatures, it kind of started really as miniatures for role play games.
Yeah.
And then very rapidly they released basically a box set called Warhammer, which was, why don't you use your miniatures in a sort of skirmish type game?
Yeah.
And I mean that was the very start of the empire that is now just down the road from us. Well, from me
Yes.
anyway.
Well, yeah, not from me anymore. Although, I used to work around the corner from it, and I used
Yeah,
to enjoy going to Warhammer World for lunch. It was quite nice in the tavern that they've got there, Bugman's.
yeah. No, I love it. I mean, I don't know when the last time you went, but the shop now has lots of display models, all painted up as you would expect, and
Yeah.
there's all of the gaming tables there. It's a fantastic place, and as you said, Bugman's is amazing. I was lucky enough to pop in there, I think a few weeks ago now, when I was having my car repaired. Yeah, no, it's fantastic stuff. Gotta love it.
Hang on, when you were did you pick a garage near Warhammer World deliberately? Well, that's where the garage is. I'll have to go. I'll
Well,
have to go to Warhammer World.
not
Next
quite.
next garage is going to be near Alton Towers, isn't it?
Yeah. To cut a long story short, it wasn't my car. It was my good lady's wife. My good lady wife drove. I think this was down to Brighton to
Ah,
drop our daughter off, and on the way back, she got a chip in the windscreen, and
that's not good.
she was going to get it repaired, but then overnight it had cracked. So
Yep.
uh, it was a garage that the insurance company sent us to, and I
Yes.
was somewhat annoyed because it was me that was going to have to take it in, because
Yep.
Heather works incredibly hard for the NHS, and I was even more distraught by the fact that it's a fairly modern car, so it's not just a simple pop out the windscreen and pop a new one
Yep.
in. It's all about calibrations and everything else these days. So it was like, it's going to take, what, 4 hours? Okay, I'm on an industrial state, 4 hours.
Yeah,
Oh,
Darren.
but
Yeah.
I'm literally 10 minutes walk from Warhammer World.
Yep. Yep. It's a no-brainer, really. I need to get down there at some. And I love the idea of playing more things in the Warhammer world. It's just there's always feels like quite a high barrier to entry, from kind of a knowledge point of view, and the thing that always kind of got me was on the models. You needed to know what all the little items were, because I played with friends that were quite strict. So they were
Yeah.
like, well, if it's not on the model, then you don't have it. And it was always a case of, well, I don't know what is this Crusader seal. I don't know what a Crusader seal looks like, because there's nothing anywhere that tells you what that looks like. So yes, it gets a bit confusing at times. So yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that they've got a lot of very good sort of starter sets these days, and there's a lot of information both sort of online, but
Yeah.
the guys at Warhammer World, say guys, that's perhaps wrong.
The
The
folks at
folks
Warhammer
at
World,
Warhammer
the
World,
people.
well, absolutely. I mean, um, there are a lot of different genders that are into Warhammer these days, and that is fantastic to see. Um, but I didn't mean it in that kind of way anyway. The staff are very knowledgeable and will quite happily assist.
Yes. Oh, they've
Um,
always been really good. The Games Workshop staff have always been fantastic to me. Yeah, I used to go up every Tuesday night to the one in Bristol, where I'm from. Go out to one of the ones every Tuesday night to hang out with some friends and play games and sit and watch them paint and ask them very politely and give them things to say. Could you maybe paint my miniatures for me,
yeah,
please?
no, absolutely. We've also got a lot of great players, Warhammer players, both 40k and fantasy, in our community. I mean, it very much. I mean, we're blessed to live in Nottingham, to be honest, with such a fantastic resource so close by.
Yes, yes. I
Um,
said living. I mean, living where I live now on sort of the northeast coast. There's not much. We used to have a Warhammer shop here, but it was a Warhammer shop and it closed. I think the nearest one now is York
mhm,
to where I live. So yeah, but there are lots of communities around.
yeah,
So where I used to live, a bit further up the coast, there was a wargaming community, and I see their posts on Facebook. They rent out a space every week, and they all get together and they play games, and it's fantastic. It's really fantastic to see these little clubs coming together and things. We've actually got a friendly local game store here as well. That I've been to once so far. And I hope to go back. It's just unfortunately I'm working 9 to 5, so it's not
it is
always easy.
difficult. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the massive time sink for me. I literally are working all the hours that I
yeah,
have anyway. So, but I mean, it was fascinating, sort of walking around seeing all the miniatures, and it's um, you know how much I like shiny things. It's kind of, oh, I could so do this. I could so not
yeah,
necessarily do it to that level, but I want to do this. It's like yeah, it was very tempting. And it's quite funny really because we do have members of our community. There was an incident recently where somebody posted Discord, oh yeah, I'm in Warhammer World. Then somebody else in Discord went, I'm at Warhammer World as well. And then the third person went, oh, so am I. And it was like, because it's quite a
and,
big place, but
and
yeah,
I'm in Warhammer World, and
yeah,
so is my wife.
that's right. So yeah, it happened, and it's great to have, as I say, to live so close to that. Um, yeah, Elsa, it's definitely worthwhile to go and see it. They've got an exhibition space as well and a museum and all sorts of things there. Um, it's it's well worth the visit, and certainly the store. Perhaps someone else can clarify in chat, but sort of the store area where there's a ton of painted miniatures is all sort of free to do
Yeah, it
as
always
well.
used to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Always used to be. I went just before I moved up north. Actually, on the way up, we stopped off the day before because we kept there's a storage unit just down the road. I kept loads of stuff in there for a while, and we thought, right, we stopped off there. We go to one, we'll get some stuff to paint because we won't know anyone who wants some stuff to do. And that stuff is still in a box in my cupboard, and I've moved again since that point. That was 7 years ago, so
Mm.
I'm terrible at hobbies. I also have no strategy, so I only ever think about what my current move is, which is why I played Black Templars when I played 40k because they had one move which was just keep moving towards the enemy,
Yeah.
as long as it's the old General Melchett rule, just keep moving forward, sort of thing.
I think my most favourite Games Workshop sort of game is the skirmish game, which was Mordheim. A big
Oh
fan of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's kind of fantasy, small war bands uh, fighting in urban sort of terrain. Fantastic stuff. The more I talk about it, the more I want to just kind of place an order and get some miniatures to start
I
painting them.
know it is so deceptive. You start thinking, oh yeah, no, I could. There's so many nice things that they do. They've got so many interesting things, especially now when they've got just the wide range of different games
Yeah,
you can play, and they've brought back games that sort of were there in the past, like Necromunda, and They never brought back Gorka Morka though. I was very annoyed about that one. But Blood Bowl came back, and I
Yeah.
always wanted to play Blood Bowl, but it just kind of all passed me by because when I was at the shop, I had lots of free time, but not much money. And then I got a job and I had no free time, but lots of money. So I just, I kind of gave up on the hobby, as it were. I've still got a lot of my stuff. I've still
Yeah.
got low. It's all in the garage in cases. But yeah, I do occasionally think I'd really, really like to get back into it. But I know for me, much like Magic the Gathering, which is why I have been banned from playing it, it is off limits
Yeah.
because you don't just start with one box. You're like, oh, maybe get two, but maybe get two things. I need all these units. I need all of these units. And it's not just one booster pack, it's 12 booster packs, and then suddenly you're covered in cards you don't want, just opening the next booster. It's amazing.
Yes. Well, that's a different story, and perhaps we'll chat more about Wizards of the Coast and their current plans for Magic at a different time. I would like, though, in the scheme of things, mention there's as wonderful as Warhammer World is, without a doubt, and their miniatures, there are an awful lot of fantastic miniature companies out there at the moment.
Yes. One I hear a lot about, that some friends of mine plays Bolt Action.
Hmm.
A lot of them play Bolt Action, really enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings me around to me again.
Let's talk about you again.
Me and Matt, who hopefully is still in chat, because we are actually, well, we were kind of our first writing together. We've mentioned this before. Is the riddle of a Rotwood Bog. And what we've written isn't actually the main part of the release, the Kickstarter that hopefully will be starting sometime in March. It is based around a set of awesome miniatures by Dragon Forge. Hello, Matt. I'm glad you're still here. And we are very, very excited about it because it's our first writing project together. We were obviously given a brief that we had to adhere to, but we think we've covered the brief really well. Dragon Forge seems to be really happy with the writing, and both me and Matt are very pleased with hopefully what you all get to see. That is hopefully coming to a Kickstarter in March, hopefully. All of our side is done, the writing, but obviously when you're putting sort of almost bespoke miniatures to it, it takes its time. There's the sculpts to get right, and then there's the layout of the product as well. But I'm super excited about that because Dragon Forge do some incredibly fantastic sculpts, and I don't just mean, oh, it's a good miniature. They pay specific attention to poses, to the whole sort of design of the mini. So I can't wait for the Kickstarter to go live so I can direct you all to it, so you can kind of go, oh, those minis are actually quite nice. Never mind the stuff that both myself and Matt have actually sort of done. So yeah, maybe I'll get some of those minis first and start painting them. Might even do it live on
Could
the
you paint
stream.
mine? Could you paint mine too, please?
I'm not the best painter.
I don't care.
Don't care. Maybe another spray again.
It's
But
fine with me.
I'm hoping to get some sample miniatures through at some point that have been painted already, so that I can sort of show you the quality of them. But that is sometimes in March, which is not long now. It's 21st, so I don't know whether
Ooh,
start of March,
no,
mid-March,
that's exciting. It's very
but
exciting.
it is creeping up on us, and we've kind of semi been commissioned to do at least another two
Wow.
products for them based around other miniature ranges. So I can't really talk about those at the moment, but I'm very excited about it as well. So it's interesting. It's kind of come full circle, really, as I say, in the fact that I've kind of fallen into this tabletop role playing that I really like, and I've kind of always had minis, whether it was for the role playing or because I have played Warhammer in the past, both 40k and fantasy, but I've kind of picking up that bug again now, and it's a difficult one to scratch because like you said, once you get started, it's like, oh, well, I can
Yes.
just get this, and I can get this, and I can
Yes.
get this, and then you've got boxes of stuff, all unpainted, and you haven't got the time to play them. So I'm going to be a bit
Yes.
cautious
I feel
going
the same
forward.
way about my Steam library on my computer.
Well,
That's
I mean, you've got quite an interesting way of analysing games you play. I mean, you literally put it in a spreadsheet, don't you?
I have a Trello board. It's not a spreadsheet. I keep a Trello board. And I'll have you know, last year I completed 24 games.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah,
And
yeah.
you've got your spreadsheet to prove it.
Yep, yep.
So it's a
It
spreadsheet.
it's not a spreadsheet.
You just
But
said yeah.
well, I've completed 4 this year so far, and I'm very happy with that
Yeah.
fact. 2 of them were Final Fantasy games.
I think that's a community favourite as well. I know a lot of people
I
that
love.
really love that.
I've just. It, I've been playing because they did a remake of one of the ones that was on PlayStation Portable, and I never had that console, so I've been playing through that, and I've absolutely loved it. And I finished it earlier this week, and it's very conveniently timed with a new game that came out today that I wanted to buy, so I've bought that one. So yes, yes, I've very much into my Final Fantasy games.
I can
And
see.
yes, Elsa's right. Trello is not a spreadsheet. It
What do
is
I know
it.
about technologies? I've got
No,
YouTube to
nothing,
work.
nothing.
I'm feeding the stream from one place to another place. So it was. I feel like I'm a mastermind.
Plumber.
Yeah. A plumber, absolutely. I'm just quickly looking down here. Andrew, who's going to be joining us soon for Vampire, says, I really like the fact they're doing more of those skirmish games now, so you can play without a huge army and have a good game. Absolutely. I've always enjoyed, uh, mainly again because of time more than anything else, both in terms of playing the game, but also in terms of being able to get a squad or a faction together, the smaller sort of skirmish games. Matt has said Dragon's Forge have been sharing some images of the minis on their social media channels as part of the countdown to the launch. That shows you how much attention I've been paying to that. Thank you, Matt. I'm glad that you've got my back. Andrew says a lot of bolt action at Seventh City in San Diego. Yeah, big shout out to Seventh City. One of the few friendly local gaming stores. It's very good. It is highly recommended from me. I have no qualms about sort of saying that. Slightly out of town, but definitely worth a visit. And the guy, I say almost said guys, the staff there are incredibly friendly, and will go out of their way to help you out with anything. Yeah, check them out, Elsa, and when you find a link to it,
I've got a link to the Kickstarter here, actually.
send it to me so I can see what we're doing. Thank you very much. Enjoying all of the chat at the moment.
I've just stuck it in the chat. Actually, they've put the Kickstarter's not live yet, but you can get notified. There are 244 followers already.
Yeah,
and in the little image, you can see 2 of the miniatures there. Looks good. Looks very good.
I'm very proud of our side of it, and I have absolutely utmost confidence in the team that are doing the miniature side. They have an incredible amount of experience in the miniature industry. I mean, they really know what they're doing. It's going to be fun to have that launched, fun to involve our community in it. there is a plan to do an actual play of a sort of I don't know yet. We might do the whole thing, but the whole thing is not a one shot anymore. So it might be
Oh,
a
really?
mini campaign. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
There were discussions. The initial brief was we wanted to be one session. I think both me and Matt took that as um, a kind of one shot, something that you would play in an evening. Um, so we did that, and they sent it back. They really liked what we did and said, "Well, can you expand it?" And the answer is yeah,
Oh, wow.
because writing
Yes.
a one shot is actually harder
Yes.
to do than actually writing something that has a little bit more meat on the bones. So
Yeah, because you
uh,
can pace it slightly differently as well. I
yeah,
found that trying to come up for this Blades in the Dark one shot we are doing next
yeah,
week on Tuesday, 28th at 7 p.m.
I'm very
One last
excited.
score, just not to plug it too much.
Uh,
Shameless self promotion there from myself.
I
Go
mean,
check out my
can
IMDb
we
page.
can,
So
can can we give them a spoiler of my character, or is
you
that
certainly can if you
you,
wish to.
you
If you wish to
sure?
spoil your, yeah, no, if you wish to spoil your character, you are more than welcome to.
It's still a work in progress at the moment, but I'm planning on playing a Whisper, which is someone that dabbles with the arcane. Sort of, the ghosts are a very well-known phenomena throughout the setting, for good or bad, really. And I'm playing someone called Ambrose Larkin, otherwise known as Barkin Larkin. And I'm not going to say why, because ghosts are known, so mediums and the like should easily be accepted.
He's also not going to tell me why either, and I'm the GM.
But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to it. But I mean, for writing for a one shot, this is, it's quite complex because you've got to try and think. Well, I've only got 3 hours, so how am I going to fit all this in? How, especially when with Blades in the Dark, it's so open. How is it going to be paced? How is it going to work? I've got ideas, I've got plans, but it's been a challenge coming up with that sort of format and trying to stick to the idea that it is only going to be a 3 hour adventure. But as I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've come up with some scores, potential scores, and yeah, the players will just have to find out which one. Well, they'll have to work out which one they want to do, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Skill Gannon's asked in the chat, any more news for Sunday? Well,
That's good. It was part of the title or the description of what we're doing. A simple answer is we've not got anybody that has volunteered to take part at the moment. It might not go this Sunday, but if we can get enough players involved, then we will definitely run it this Sunday. But if not this Sunday, it'll be another sort of Sunday night. Um, but the concept is, as I said last night, is the players will be playing imp-based characters, sort of small, not so much familiars, but servants of a higher power. Um, and they will be sent on various tasks and missions. So it will play fairly much straight like a standard tabletop role play game. But there will be complications thrown in the way of them. And the reason why I called it improv is that I'll be choosing these complications, and the characters will have to improvise to get through them. Um, but I kind of would like it, ideally, if it was in my ideal world, for you in chat to be able to throw up suggestions as well to put obstacles into their way, so that they would have to improvise with that sort of setting as well. Um, the sort of feel of it, though, for those of you who have played the classic tabletop roleplay game Paranoia, it is going to have that feel to it. So some of the imps might just die very, very rapidly, but they're obviously, because they are a supernatural creature, they respawn as a new version of themselves. This is where we lean into paranoia, because in paranoia you have clones and you only have a certain amount of respawn. So um, you can't do it infinitely. So you need to play it a little bit carefully, and obviously you don't necessarily want to lose your imps, as it were. So it's going to be quite funny to see the way that some of these imps meet their demise, thanks to the chat, and whether they can indeed sort of struggle through. As I sort of indicated last night, the other thing that I kind of want to do is make it multiversal as well. So it's not sort of like a fantasy realm of hell, fourth edition, fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons, or third edition, or whatever. It's kind of set in this cinematic version of hell. So imagine like Constantine, Lucifer. So these imps can travel to the future, dystopian futures, to the past, to modern day, as well as fantasy realms, um, to do the tasks. So it gives a wide amount of choice from our audience and from me, the storyteller, to send them on wild chases. I think it's a goer. I think it's going to be incredibly good fun. It's going to start at 8 o'clock, and I think 2 hours should do it. I'm not expecting it to be like a 3 hour game, and they're going to be one shots as well. So the idea is it's not a big commitment. It's just jump in on a Sunday night, have a bit of fun, and if we get more people interested in playing the following week, we can swap and change and rotate um, the players, the characters, and the like, really, to see how it goes. We might only do one of them. If it's popular, well, we might do more of them. So that is the gist of it, really. Um,
How
uh,
many players are you looking for, Andy?
I mean, 3 or 4 imps
Hmm.
should be enough.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a massive consistence. Um, are you playing the improv from Fantasy Grounds? No, it's not going to be Fantasy Grounds, because it'll just be people on video, um, on stream. Basically, it'll be everybody's beautiful faces. In terms of system, it's going to be the twisted narrative system that I'm still fine tuning, but it'll be perfect for this. And it's really easy to learn. So I wanted everybody's focus to be on improvising and having fun, as opposed to worrying about learning a new rule set or creating characters, and the like. So it needed something that was going to be very fast and easy. And the rule set for Twisted Narrative currently, as it stands, is each character has 3 stats. One is physical, one is social, and the other one is kind of exploring. It covers the 3 pillars of role playing. So if you do something physical, whether it's fighting, whether it's jumping, whether it's lifting, you roll on your physical stat. If you're doing something social, social interaction, deceiving, charming, um, whatever, you roll on your social stat. And if you're doing more or less anything else, you roll on your sort of like exploration. It can be anything from tracking or sort of attempting to open a lock. Uh, exactly. And if magic is involved, then the magic comes off one of those 3 stats. So if you're trying to cast a suggestion spell, for instance, you'd use your social, but just lace it with your magical words. If you were doing a blast, it'll come off your physical. So it's pretty straightforward, really. It's not designed to be in depth. It's designed to be free form, very fast to flow, and for you to be creative with it. In terms of the stats, how you generate them, you have a dice pool at the start of the game of 7 dice, and you allocate dice from that dice pool into those 3 stats.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Maximum of 5 dice in one stat, minimum of 1 dice in the other stats. You roll that dice pool for a physical. So if you had 5 dice in physical, you'd roll all 5 dice, and you'd be looking for a certain number to be on at least one of those dice. So if the difficulty was kind of average, you might be looking for a 3 or 4 on those 5 dice, and you'd only have to get one number of it. Getting sort of multiple 6s allow you to do um, interesting things, basically things beyond just succeeding. Um, and then there's a sort of general pool which is called hope, which you can spend to twist the narrative, but if you run out of all hope, then you all lose the game. So basically your task is over, your mission is over, and you have failed currently, to start again. Now that could lead with deaths, or it could lead with no, you just haven't succeeded this time. So pretty straightforward, really. I mean, I think I've just explained that in 5 minutes or so. I don't know whether people have understood it, but I certainly
I
explained
wasn't listening.
it. So pretty straightforward, as I say. Certainly for the concept of improv, I want people to be focusing on improvising and doing crazy things, not worrying too much about stats and the like.
Sounds like how I play every game.
Yeah. And it's surprising. We ran a Call of Cthulhu scenario that I created for Call of Cthulhu using this system. Elsa was in that game, and I felt it ran very, very smoothly, without the mechanics of Call of Cthulhu. I mean, we did have some very strong role players in that group, and they had some very good backstories, which helped carry the cinematics of it all, really. So I hope that has sort of gave you a little bit more of an insight in its skill. Um, and I'm keen. I'm sure it will be great fun. It's all about encouraging people to take part, and some people might not have the necessary technology, might not have a video camera or a decent mic, or might feel a little sort of nervous about being on camera or improvising. So totally understand that. Um, you know, if it doesn't fire on this Sunday, it is just another idea that will be sort of put to one side until we build our community even more and can gather some people together to give it a go. I've had a fairly good response of people that like the idea and kind of want to be in the chat and watching, but it's getting, as they say in the art, getting the talent together to make it work. But it's a work in progress, as is everything. We will, though, have the actual play coming up that Kristian is running. That is a week today.
It is, yes.
28th. So that is Blades in
Yes.
the Dark. So immediately after doing the 6 o'clock club like we're doing now, we'll probably bring it an end about 1:45, like we're about to do. And then in 15 minutes after that, we will go straight into Blades in the Dark, which is exciting. Certainly myself and Matt are looking to do an actual play of Riddle of Rotwood Bog at some point.
Very exciting.
Whether that is going to be a sort of mini campaign of 2, maybe 3 sort of linked sessions, difficult to say. We might just do a snapshot Charlie from Shiver has volunteered to do an actual play of Shiver at some point in March as well. So it's all kicking off in March really with actual plays and the like, which I'm very excited to do. But I am keen to do some more streams beyond the 6 o'clock club. But it is very much a case of reaching out and finding people that are interested in performing in them and taking part. So watch this space, but I do genuinely appreciate the interest and the questions. Is that on YouTube as well? Yes, it is, as Kristian has just answered you, Simon.
Yeah.
And we will be putting together a advanced video, a placeholder for it, so that you can you'll be able to sort of click on it, I think, and it will notify you.
Yep, there'll be a chat there ready. If we get, I mean, tonight Andy was trialing the whole putting the thing up beforehand, seeing if it worked. So we're glad it did. Either that or we've just been talking to ourselves for the last 45 minutes, and some lovely people in chat have just so happened to have said some things at the same time. But no, we'll be there. There'll be the chat. It will be on the Twisted Narrative channel. It'll be at 7 o'clock on the 28th on this channel. So yes, I'm really looking forward to running it. Obviously, interaction with chat will be probably low because I'll be focusing on the game. But I will be reading the chat afterwards and throughout to hear how much you absolutely all despise me.
We very much expect chat to entertain themselves and to make comments about the game rather than ask questions during that. But obviously, you will be able to put comments down in the comments section at the end, and then we can look at that and answer those comments as well. And you get to see me play, barking, larking.
I know. It's exciting. I mean, as I said, I don't know how many people in the chat have ever played with you as a player before, seen you as a player before.
Very few. I'm stoked by it. I'm very, very excited.
Me too.
So I think we've come into that witching hour. I need to start getting ready for Vampire the Masquerade, which I'm very excited about tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow, 6 o'clock club, and I think if it's okay with you, Kristian, we'll answer some of Jack's questions tomorrow that he put in last week in Discord.
Yes, that would be great.
So Jack has asked about character deaths, and I have to be careful. Sometimes I say player deaths, and I mean character deaths. How as a GM you deal with those? There's a conversation to be had about the Tales from the Smoke world setting. But if you do,
I'd like to hear about
that. If you do have any other kind of questions that you kind of want to sort of prompt, please feel free to pop over to the Discord section, and there's a 6 o'clock club, and you can put your questions in there, and maybe tomorrow, maybe sometime over the next week or so, we will get to answering those questions and making it part of the club, because that is what it's supposed to be, a club, and you are most definitely members of the club, of course. Sorry,
I've been called that before.
And on that note,
parents could be so cruel.
On that note, I think I apologise.
I think it's time to get ready for Vampire.
Yes,
have some downtime before Vampire, please.
I've had some Red Bull. It's never good with me. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Take care, look after yourselves and each other, and it's bye from me. And
what do you want? Goodbye.
Bye. See you all hopefully tomorrow.
Stay safe, everyone.